We could have done it in the daytime. We actually, thought about using our night sounds. We have beautiful night sounds this time of the year.
And you wake up every morning with these beautiful views. How can you not smile?
We think living in big cities would make you, very social or allow you to make lots of friends. But I think it's true that, living in this part of the world has actually enabled us to make a lot many more and diverse kind of friends.
Hi, Raania. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hi, Ilham. It's so nice to connect with you.
I know, long time no see.
Yeah, after a really long time.
I've been seeing some of the stuff. Like, you randomly popped up on my Instagram the other day, and I was like, I have to get in touch and kind of get back to connecting with you and also finding out what you've been up to.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, just I think the last time we worked together was
Years ago.
21, early 21 or 2020. The big year. Then yeah, I've been away. I mean, I'm not in Karachi, and yeah, I haven't totally been connecting either for that period so much.
And that's precisely why I got in touch, to actually get to know where you've been. Where we had a lovely chat the other day, and I wanted everyone else to also kind of know where you've been and what you've been up to. So I think that's what we're going to be doing today.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for giving me a moment to think about this as well, because to be honest, it's the past 3 or 4 years have been so beautifully embracing, in a sense that one hasn't had the time to talk about this or even think about it, to be honest. But and yeah. So yeah, I've basically I moved away. I moved away from Karachi in 2021. We had been working a lot in the areas of music together with Salt Arts. That's what I did full time in those days. I had a very public life.
I was just going to say that you are an artist and a creative producer, but most people know you best as the force behind Salt Arts. So you brought us something that was like a music and cultural phenomenon that came to Karachi, and then all the other cities were begging for it also. And a lot of cool collaborations happened, a lot of cool stuff happened, and then we lost you to the mountains.
I don't think there's a sense of losing or gaining or anything. I also think, we talked about it the other day, the question about like left it all and moved away. You'd mentioned something, but I think who decides what's leaving and what's arriving. And I think in the past few years, what has become pretty clear is that it is definitely in our benefit to mimic the cyclical, qualities of nature. To mimic the day and the night and the spring and the autumn, the winter and the summer. So, kind of adjusting to that kind of pattern in one's life, I think, I loved that rush of how we used to all work together with Salt Arts. It was this really beautiful time in my life where, it started because we wanted to create paying audiences for the arts in our big city in Karachi. To really set that pilot and tone for the audiences. And it was a very obviously, living in a very big city, what life is like. And I think sometime around, I think big year 2020 really made us question a lot of things. And I think the big question wasn't why, but it was why not. How can we kind of do that? So I mean, to be honest, I didn't really think about it much, but I moved to Aliabad with my son. And he and I have lived here in this lovely eclectic mountain town, as I like to describe it, surrounded by friends and wonderful people who hold several interests. And yeah, it's a lovely community here. And it's not like I didn't know about this community before. I've worked here for several years before, and I had a lot of friends. So when I think the question of leaving that pace arrived in my head, and also the need for you know, spending time with my son, like being a mom and, being there. So we thought about, I didn't think about it, it just happened, and I still am processing how and why. But we moved very quickly. And that's it. That's kind of what happened.
Yeah, because one of the biggest questions I think that everyone had on their minds that know you and that know that you moved there was, what led you to that decision? Was it like a split thing, or was it something that you were thinking about for a while? And much like life, you don't really. Sometimes you just have to like you said, changing of the seasons. That's the changing of the seasons of your life. You're just moving into another chapter.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. No, there was nothing that dramatic. Allah na kare. I had a great, I had a great professional life. I still do, and a wonderful community, friends, and family. Um,
So we're gonna dig into the professional aspect, because that's something that, I was really curious about.
just to also add to that, when you said that if I had been thinking about it, I think I had been thinking about it all my life. That is something that was very clear. I also spent a lot of my younger years at college in a very similar sort of setting, um, in a small mountain town. So I think that was always there. It wasn't that, it just occurred to me. So, and I'm not, I'll be clear, I'm not a mountain climber, I'm not a sports person. Neither was I a scuba diver in Karachi. I'm a mom and I'm a creative director and I have various interests. So I am still the same person. I just live in a different place.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think that like your perspectives and your definition of happiness and your definition of um, of generally just life has kind of changed with, because a lot of people say, oh, normally people move to Karachi for work, right? Like I moved to Karachi for work. I have like so many other friends who moved to Karachi for work. So and my perspective changed when I came to work here, because previously I was working in Lahore. It's a very different kind of work environment, whereas Karachi was very, very different. So, I mean, you've gone from city to a remote area. So has your perspectives changed with regards to working?
Oh, yes, certainly. And I'd like to go back to that same point about, living and conducting your life in a more cyclical way where you're able to create something and then recover from that and then feed yourself again and go back to work or go back to creation. And I think in the city, the pressure of constantly being on, because that's just what it calls for. The kind of the expenses, the kind of competitiveness, all of that. The pace is very like unnatural sometimes. I feel now. I feel that I didn't feel that then because, of course, I was, in it. But I think yes, my perspective on work is certainly and happiness. Happiness, yes, I think happiness comes from just knowing that you're happy. I mean, being having a lot of faith in the universe. I'm very grateful to my close friends and family who were also very supportive at the time that I moved. Honestly speaking, I never made a public announcement. Neither did Salt Arts because, it was just so difficult at the time to, want to do more in your life the way you want to conduct your life while also dispassionately disconnecting from something that you love so much. So there was nothing wrong with the scenario. Of course, COVID was tough, but it also gave us all, the team and myself, and my partner at the time, Junaid, who's co-founder of Salt Arts. I think it this gave us an opportunity to also find the space to think about all the other beautiful things that we want to do in our lives. And yeah, we reminisce about it a lot, but we do still continue to work in our areas, whether that's creating audiences or producing beautiful experiences, or informing our audiences about things. So yes, that journey has certainly continued. And yeah, and about happiness, I think being there with all of this, being slow, I think has really, you know, is really the answer I feel at the moment.
Right.
And obviously when you work in the kind of commercial system and so on, you don't necessarily get that time to be slow or that luxury to be slow. You can't. But I think if you still work in that cyclical sort of way, you can have time to recover and then go back and so on. So I think that's how well I can explain that a bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. I jumping a little bit forward, like you said. So Salt Arts left a big hole in our hearts when it stopped happening. But then again, I think people also were after 2020. They were like, okay, brave new world, big new world, different things coming up. What are you've been working on stuff even while you've been up there? It's not like you just took a holiday from life. You've been very actively working. Tell us a little bit about what all you've been up to.
I don't think I can take a holiday from life. I mean, why would I love life? Um, Look, about that hole in the heart thing that you just said. I just now that we're talking and we're talking to everybody, and to all the artists and musicians and audience members who are listening to this podcast, um, I do feel bad. I do feel bad. I get a lot of grief in my DM usually. I get a lot of notes and letters and DMs, and it's so heartwarming. But at the same time, there are other people doing a lot of other things, and I think things evolve, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
That's okay. Regarding my work, very recently there was somebody who visited Aliabad, and I met up with them, and they were surprised to see me working on a laptop, and they said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm doing my work." And oh, they said, "What work?" And I said, "Some music related work." And they said, "Oh, I thought you left music." And at that point, I didn't understand how to explain how could I leave my work. I changed my place of residence, but I still work. And I mean, I work in the areas of music. I work in the areas of digital um, and cultural digital consultancy and so on. But I have to say, hats off to um, wonderful creative collaborators and who have that kind of faith and trust to be open to that idea of mobility of creative resource, just the geographic mobility of creative resource across Pakistan, right? There's a lot of hesitation around, or often we hear things and then we like to repeat them until they almost are so set in our heads के जीबी में तो इंटरनेट नहीं है, ठीक है, ऐसी बात नहीं है, हम अभी जूम पे रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है सब कुछ, and a lot of my work since 21 has been at the back end of music and also production, which includes project management, kind of putting projects together along with the collaborators and partners, but also some sort of distribution work in terms of music distribution. But then also a lot of digital cultural consultancy. So, a lot of organizations that I work with. And so a lot of the work is remote, right? And it's quite possible to do that. Of course, it's not that simple, but you have to work towards it and make it happen. So that's kind of the work I do. I'm really grateful to all my colleagues who, have that trust and who are easily just seamlessly continuing to work and not hold that judgment in their head, in a remote area, so you may not be able to deliver. And that's not true. We've done a lot of interesting work over the past 3-4 years, which includes commercial music production. I've also had the opportunity to really expand my own working areas in music, because previously I was working mainly with live productions of concerts and audiences. Of course, we were doing a lot of subliminal messaging and things like that during all of those shows, teaching audiences how to behave with each other, how to coexist. As you recall, I'm pretty sure, City FM 89 was a very, very strong partner of Salt Arts for a very long time and really understood the zone. There was also a very strong message regarding segregation. We did not do gender segregation. We, in fact, tried very hard to educate audiences on coexistence and having the empathy to let each other enjoy beautiful experiences.
And I mean, testament to you guys, because the message got across. People did listen, and I don't remember there ever being we never even had to think about incidents happening. Or I know you guys had to set all of those boundaries, and you guys had to make yeah, yeah. I remember all those meetings, but you guys made it look effortless. That's true. Hats off to Karachi.
Yeah, it's a big hats off to Karachi for certainly. And then again, kind of mimicking that need for developing communities. I think it's been fantastic working here in Aliabad, and so I'm based around Central Hunza. Get to also collaborate with friends and like-minded artists in Gujal, which is Upper Hunza, and so on. So this region is extremely rich, and it's a lot of fun to be here, especially in the creative sector. Um,
Right.
I just think that the output is different, and I think I want to really unpack and understand how we can change the styles of delivery of experiences by making them a little more underproduced, with a little more restraint, kinder to the earth. That's always been a big agenda in terms of most of my work. I've tried very hard, at least, and I continue to right now um, reach some sort of balance, equilibrium, and not feel and not be like hurtful towards the ecosystem, the natural ecosystem.
We were talking about climate consciousness, and we were talking about sustainable living and sustainable production, and that's something that's very dear to you. That's something that you have, I mean, even before you left, it was a big message that was in all of your performances, also all of your salt art stuff as well. Being a little bit more conscious of your environment and of your surroundings. Ho- I mean, right now, when we were planning this out, there was a couple of things that my wish list from you, and I had asked you, how are we going to manage this and manage that? And like one of the things I was like, can we please shoot it outdoors, and can you manage it? And you were like, yeah, sure, no problem. And like, so just tell me what all is going on around you. I just really want people to know how cool it is, and you have a team there that's helped you put stuff together. So I really want people to know that, and how it's sustainable production.
Okay, sure, we'll get into that, Ilham. So, I think just taking this podcast as an example, how we're recording it is, we could have done it in the daytime. We actually, thought about using our night sounds. We have beautiful night sounds this time of the year. It's very peaceful. Today, I have this is the table we work on, eat on, serve food to our guests on. So it's underneath the walnut tree, and the light around us is mostly battery and solar and candles. Um, Hunza has a energy shortage, and a lot of people are struggling and with electricity, constant electricity. And I think taking pride in using less has become a very important part of life right now. I think that excess and ज़्यादा चीज़ों को हद से ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल करना is actually, it feels a little uncivilized, to be honest, personally, not just speaking for myself. So the beautiful things about being in a situation where you can use less, um, and still have have normal creative output. It's just about how, I guess, we could perceive things. There's no right way. There's also no end to something. There's no ultimate of something. I think it's a very fluid process. So, on one end, yes, we were producing these large shows on stage with SMD screens and generators and whatnot, but there was always this curiosity about how can we, create some sort of balance, or or compensate in some area, where we can say कि चलो कुछ हमने कोशिश तो की. I really think this kind of consciousness, comes from empathy. And if we tried in those shows, we tried our best to do as much as we could by, I think by 2016, which is the second year of our existence as Salt Arts, we stopped using Panaflex and plastics and things like that. We were encouraging people to use, water bottles. It's basic stuff that everybody can kind of contribute towards.
Yeah, and there's small steps that lead
Yeah,
to
I mean, look,
something bigger.
in this world and the way we are all brought up and everything, I don't think we can reach a great 100% point of being completely, it's not possible. But I think that you can kind of at least strive to have some sort of balance in one's life. And I think we're constantly striving towards that, to become more civilized and to take pride in using less, as less as we can. And with as much restraint as we can, because everything is there's a lot now, even the way we engage with the, content and social media, everything has to be fast and it has to be मतलब ज़्यादा लंबा नहीं लिखें, लोग पढ़ेंगे नहीं, ज़्यादा लंबा नहीं गाएं, लोग सुनेंगे नहीं. आई फाइंड दैट रियली क्रेजी, यू नो. आई रियली, आई वाज ऑफन टोल्ड कि आप बहुत लंबे लंबे डिस्क्रिप्शंस लिखती हैं म्यूज़िक के बारे में या चीज़ें. तो आई वाज लाइक, अगर आपको पढ़ना आता है तो आप इंजॉय करके पढ़ें उसे, यू नो. तो मैं क्या करूँ, यू नो. कम्युनिकेशन के ऊपर तो ये नहीं होना चाहिए. तो आई थिंक उसी तरह से हम जिस तरह से कंटेंट को कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं ना, बहुत जल्दी से और तेज़ तेज़, यू नो, रुक के समझना एंड स्टफ. सो आई थिंक कि अब अंडर प्रोडक्शन की तरफ आई एम वेरी कीन ऑन doing softer things, doing them at my own pace, doing them slowly, and also yeah, and then that consciousness comes in. I mean, it's yeah, basically that's what's happening.
You definitely you did. I mean, it's something for people to also really think about, right? They need to be a little conscious of anything that they're doing, because I mean, it's a very real thing. Climate crisis is a very real thing, and it doesn't mean that only the big corporations and like the people who are, you know, doing all kinds of big stuff have to make change. We are on a very personal level can also do every little thing that we can do, and that's the message that you guys always put out, that you are one individual. If you start it, you could start a wave of other people also following suit. Tell me about the community a little bit, the Hunza community. How much do you collaborate with them? How much do they you know, have kind of overlap with your work? What's it like up there?
So before I answer this question, I just wanted to share a thought on what you said about climate. You know, I just think that it's not essential that we always think about the outcome or our impact on something when we intend to do it. So I'm not a corporation, you know. I don't know about these things. Like I said, you know, I'm normal. Like I'm a mom, I'm a homemaker, and I just hope that on our own personal level we can just be a little more humbler, you know, like kinder and like well mannered about this aspect of life, you know. Not open like 1,000 plastic bottles and be like, you know, constantly eating packaged food, and you know, it's so yeah, that's all. There's no, one doesn't obviously understand. I don't know if that's an impact or anything, but I think it is an impact on one's own life and the betterment of one's own consumption or output. But yeah, moving forward, I think you talked about the Hunzai community of friends, and there's no us and them. I mean, you know, I live here, my son goes to school here, mashallah. He's got a lot of friends, and we've got, mashallah, very lovely friends here. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's...
You have a lot of people, like I see Jimmy up there quite often.
Yes.
You have a lot of people visiting as well.
Well, Jimmy and I both, obviously, you know, that we've been collaborators for many, many years, but we're also very, very close friends. And at the time where I was moving, you know, it was my son and I and two friends, companions, you know, who helped us move. And I think we're really grateful to that family. You know, friendship is really the center of our lives, and that's the way we look at our, you know, that's our family. And yeah, Jimmy lived here for some time, and Jimmy has been, you know, doing a lot of work in adventure and travel, and a lot of it is in this area. So yes, he's been around, and so have a lot of artists, you know. Over the past 4 years, a number of artists have actually, you know, been curious about this slowness and said, you know, let's try and figure something out. And really grateful. I would like to shout out to some of those artists who've actually come out here, done these really slow, beautiful shows with small audiences, and have really enjoyed this process. There's Esan Bari, of course, big long-term collaborator who did you know, we used to do the South Asia ensemble. I don't know if you remember. Yep. And this is my neighbor's bike. Just you can hear that. So, you know, we used to do the South Asia ensemble, which was this evolving ensemble of many, many artists, many, many musicians putting together a certain kind of sound that we would imagine. And obviously, you know, the distances and stuff and economics around the existence of bands has changed so much. You know, so also just bringing such a big ensemble over, even though I would have loved to, you know, was just not feasible. It was not making sense. It was not sustainable, you know, to produce one on one's own. And so I said to Essen, let's try to make this a one person show and maybe an electroacoustic set. So he did that. We had the entire South Asia ensemble set performed by him. And we make do with stuff that we have. For example, in terms of vocals, I did some vocals with him. I was there, but we had a beautiful show. Then after that, it was a proof of concept that you can pull off stuff like that. And who's to say what is right? Who's to say what is right, and who's to say how much you need to put in to make something palatable, right? I think it's really about how much you don't have to do. So what we can do right now, we shouldn't stop our progress by saying कि ये नहीं हो सकता इस वक्त. जो हम, like I said even before, even with the audience development topic, let's chip away at something slowly and more sustainably. Anyhow, I wanted to thank Omer Jaswal, who's come out here and did this really fun show. Ehsan Parvez, and another musician who was with them, and a lovely person, Azad, who joined them. And then, of course, many, many artists. But I would really, really like to. Yes, Hamza Akram Khawal came out here with a mini troupe.
That's amazing.
Yeah, on my request for a lovely music festival that happens here.
Him with that backdrop.
Yeah, it was wonderful. He sang Up in the Mountains. He did the closing act for the Great Gig in the Sky, which is organized by some wonderful young Hunzai people here. And so I had facilitated them by, bringing in the final act. The headline act last year, it was Hamza Akram. And they were really happy, and Hamza was very gracious and generous about his time. But they didn't come with the whole ensemble. They made it work. They came with 6 people, and it was wonderful. But most of all, I'm just so grateful to have had the opportunity of hosting Hania here last year. And she'd always been in touch, and she'd always wanted to come, and then one day she did. And she spent a lot of time here at Zahira Cottage, which is my home and my studio and my experimental kitchen.
That was my next question, because that is what I've been looking at, and it's a beautiful, the word I'm looking for is it's not just a space that you've built. It's actually an experience, because there's activities also happening. There's beautiful pictures of food, by the way, which I really want to know who's behind all of that. And so tell us a little bit about the cottage.
Zahira Cottage is, just to give you some background, Zahira Pandit is my nani's name. My nani was a Kashmiri woman, and very, very inspiring to my life. And when she passed away in 2016. I had considered adding her name to mine, because I wanted to, just keep that with me. I believe a lot in saying things I don't know how to say that, vibrations of or manifestation of things that you say, and at that time somehow it didn't happen. But when I moved here, and the homes here don't have addresses, there's no 1/2 Khayabane XYZ. It's not like that. So homes usually have names, and Zahira Cottage was the name that that came to us at that point. And we were very grateful, because I keep taking my nani's name, and not just me, the whole neighborhood and everybody in the home says Zahira Cottage all the time. And it's just, wonderful to be able to take a name. Anyway, so Zahira Cottage is my home, is my son and I, we live here, and our 4 dogs. And as part of our home, I also run my studio, which is my clay studio here. That's what I do. I also teach clay. I've been teaching for many years. And now in Hunza, I've been able to, produce some terracotta ware. We have a kiln, a small kiln, a wood-fired kiln that we've built, and I'm trying to figure out the effectiveness of its and the mechanics of it. But we've done a few firings, and I don't know, let's show you, actually. So, terracotta stuff like this is something that we've been making out here at Zahira Cottage. And if you see in the frame, there's also another jar here, which says 2020 on one side and Karachi on the other. I think there was one memorable terracotta jar I'd made in 2020. in my Karachi home. Anyway, so that connection, that's kind of stuff is happening. Also, we do a lot of music stuff at home, and then we cook. I cook. I love to cook. My whole family loves to cook. Um, and the most exciting part is to be able to feed people, to be able to host people and invite them to our dinner table here. Um, and the food that we prepare is, there's a lot of thought about simplicity, approachability, but also the idea of reducing food miles as much as possible. So we don't have a set menu. When people ask for meals, it's usually, the freshest thing that we find on the day. May it be fruit, may it be trout, fish. We don't eat so much meat here. We eat yak in the season, which is wonderful. So that's what the food situation is about. And yes, it is experiential because that's just how food should be enjoyed. I think you always remember who you ate it with and, where you were sitting. And there's so many, things that affect our experiences with food and, music itself and then all of that. So that's kind of what we do at Zahira Cottage. And we've been able to welcome some wonderful friends and artists from all over the world, actually, in the past 4 years. We just haven't, we don't really talk about it much. I think it's a private experience. It's not a very large scale public experience at all.
Right.
And it's very personal.
Well, I'm coming next. Just by looking at all of this stuff, it's just so inviting. It's just like it feels so homey and it feels so welcoming and warm. So I'm definitely booking my next trip to come visit you there.
Yeah, I get a lot of visitors, mostly women. A lot of young women come and sort of do workshops with us. Women of all ages, actually. Workshops and day retreats and conversations and lots of lovely food shared. So it's been nice, a great way to meet people and make friends. We think living in big cities would make you, very social or allow you to make lots of friends. But I think it's true that, living in this part of the world has actually enabled us to make a lot many more and diverse kind of friends.
Right. Honestly, I personally, the mountains, I have always loved the mountains, and I feel like it's something that has gotten me feeling inspired as well. The fact that you're there, the fact that you're thriving and you're happy and your life is full. Yeah, up there. A lot of people say, oh no, I need to be in the city. I need to be close to, friends and family and in the city. But you found a friends, family, a life way up there, which is fantastic. And you wake up every morning with these beautiful views. How can you not smile at that?
I think you answered the question, the happiness question. Look, I'll be honest. I mean, yes, thank you so much for the appreciation and all of that. But life is generally challenging anywhere you live, right? And so it's not that it's all very easy and simple. There are lots of factors. Also, being a parent is a factor, education, running the home. There are lots of things, right? The regular pressures of adulthood, and they exist. But being away from the anxieties and pressures of a fast-paced city for now really kind of allows that break and for you to cope with it better. I think at least it's doing that for me.
For a very long time, I've wondered. I'm like, how's she doing up there? How I should get in touch. And I'm so glad that I finally did, because I got to hear all of these lovely stories from you. And thank you for sharing it all.
Thank you, Ilham. Thank you for the opportunity. And I think, yeah, and I'd also, just before we end this podcast, I want to say thank you to friends and family who supported us in this journey. Not only supported, but just been really easy about it and being like, okay, big deal, go on, and that's wonderful. And I want to thank my colleague here, Nadeem Al Karimi, who is a filmmaker, very celebrated filmmaker in Hunza. He's my friend, and he's helping record this to your request today.
Thank you so much, Nadeem. You made my life so much easier.
I have to thank Team IEI Pakistan, which is a wonderful, wonderful platform. We will share the links for that. I want to thank Marvi Sumro from there, who's um, helped us technically and sent us cameras over today. And yeah, so that's how we work as a community. We're all good friends and try to help each other out as much as we can.
That is awesome. That is amazing. Thank you so much for all of them. And you know what? Please send me all the links. I'll put all of them down so that people can also get to know all of these people better.
Yeah,
And we will
absolutely.
be in touch.
Yep, hopefully. And yeah, look forward to chatting with you all soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.